Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight we are taking a look at Linda Ronstadt's 1978 album, Living in the USA, and the 1980 album, Mad Love. I want to welcome John the Music Nut to the show, and we are going to get started right after this.
There have been a lot of articles and things that identify me with the LA sound. It's sort of like me and Jackson and the Eagles and Warren Zevon, most recently, and John David Souther. Recently, I've come into contact with a lot of English musicians, and I was trying to decide what it was that made us different from them, The English and the East Coast attitude seem to be kind of cynical. The attitude in music here seems to be very serious and earnest and kind of despairing, I mean, it's at its most self-indulgent. It's very kind of too serious, like what if we all started out so innocently, and now we've all been turned into cynical rock and roll stars, Actually, I'm glad there's some English people coming in. We need some new blood in this town, We're starting to get stale.
Holy crap, John the Music Nut, we are live. We're doing Linda Ronstadt tonight.
That's right.
And I believe this is the first time you've been on the show like a one-on-one. We've been on shows together,
yes,
but this is like our virgin episode of talking some music one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I do want to thank you because it was John that brought up this topic. And I want to say thank you because this was a very refreshing exercise, if I must say. Like some of these records, well, both of these records, one of these records I knew more than the other one, but I haven't listened to these records in years. And I'm not even sure if I ever really listened to them. I had a girlfriend that was into them, so I heard them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But holy crap. I think this is a great topic. And I think that Linda is an artist that we need to look at for sure. So anyway, John picked these two records. We're looking at Living in the USA and Mad Love. Living in the USA is from 1978 and Mad Love's from 1980. Living in the USA was the ninth studio. We're just going to go. Let's do this. We'll look at Living in the USA first, and then we'll look at Mad Love, and we'll do like a 1 out of 10 for each one, and we'll combine our scores, and we'll just kind of briefly look over them and do a brief review. So, Living in the USA is the ninth studio album from Linda Ronstadt, released in 1978. It was Linda's third and final #1 album on the Billboard 200 chart. Again, the reviews for this, I'm looking here. All Music gave it this doesn't seem right to me, but okay. All Music gave it a 3-star. Circus gave it a 4. Robert Christgau, who hates everything, which is like the running joke around here, he gave it a B. Crawdaddy gave it a 3.5. Rolling Stone gave it a favorable. But of course, the Rolling Stone album guide only gave it a 3-star. We wouldn't expect anything more from the Rolling Stone album guide anyway. So, but let's say this: when this came out, let me say this: it was favorably reviewed for the most part. It had 5. John the Music Nut. It had 5 singles. I mean, that's like half the record. Yeah. Back in the USA, Ooh, Baby, Baby, Just One Look, Love Me Tender, and Allison were all released as singles on this record.
And that was rare back then. I mean, for most popular singers, popular artists of that day, I mean, when Fleetwood Mac did 4 singles with Rumors,
right?
That was pretty rare. I mean, if you think about the Eagles, Hotel California, that was 3 singles, I believe. The Long Run from 79, that would have been 3 singles. I mean, most of these artists, a lot of them only gave you 2 singles.
Right.
But like the bigger names, like Linda Ronstadt at this point, she was very popular. I mean, in the late 70s, probably the whole second half of the 70s, she was all over the radio. And she continued to get hits after. And but that it was 5 singles, that surprises me. I knew of 4. And that was only after doing research. I didn't know that Love Me Tender was a single too. Well, Elvis, of course, but not.
Well, he is the king, for crying out loud. You've got to have
right.
an Elvis single on there, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure where. Well, I don't know. I wonder how high that ranked. I'm looking. I don't think it even really charted.
I mean, I did a little research on that too, and no. 3 singles charted, but that one and Allison did not chart in the United States.
So, John, you suggested this topic. Let's throw it over to you. What are your basic thoughts? I mean, what are the standout tracks, and what is your rating on this record out of 10? And then what we'll do, I know we don't have a big panel, it's just you and I, but who else would we possibly need? We will just do a combination. I don't know. And then we'll just look at both of them. So give me your thoughts on Living in the USA.
Okay.
And the other thing, before I let you go, why did you suggest this topic? I think people would like to know. And I'm just curious why you, because I would never think of anybody suggesting Linda Ronstadt. Nothing wrong with Linda. Don't get me wrong. But what was it about Linda that wanted you to suggest something like this?
I did it tongue in cheek to a comment that you put on the Contrarians.
Well, okay, what did I say?
Oh, you meant I don't know what we were talking about exactly, but you said Linda Ronstadt.
Okay.
And just you just mentioned Linda Ronstadt in a comment. And I read that, and then I emailed you right after, and I said, yeah. And I mentioned Live in the USA against Get Closer, and then later we changed it to Mad Love. And I just said it just to see what you thought. Right. And you said, I love it. Let's do it. I'm like, okay.
Hey man, I'm always looking for suggestions.
Yeah, so that was purely tongue in cheek. I'm not a huge Linda Ronstadt fan. Naturally,
hell, we're looking at him tonight, John. Yeah. We're looking at him now. See what happens?
Yeah, that's right.
You poke the bear, and this is what happens.
It's awesome. Yeah.
There's Ernesto. John, there you go. Rich is here.
Ernesto. Hi, Rich.
Peter Jones. Now you're talking about one of my favorite singers ever,
Mr.
male
Jones.
or female. Mr. Jones. I had no idea.
Mr. Jones.
And of course, Star says BM Bolt. Rich, Robert Christgau probably gave it a B because it has Elvis Costello's song on it.
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Well, the next record, Mad Love, has like 4 Elvis Costello songs. So, Ernesto, very common 8-track. Well, if you think about this, Ernesto, these records sold a shitload back in the day. So, yeah, there's a lot of 8-tracks around. There's a lot of vinyl. I know this is going off topic. Well, it's not really going off topic, but several years ago, the audiophile community, I can't remember what label it was, but they did audiophile pressings of like these albums. I don't quote me on which one, but I think this might have been one of them, Living in the USA. Now, if anybody knows about going out into the wild and looking for vinyl, there's a bazillion of these out there. And they were all mastered by Bernie Grundman. So why you would ever have to do a new audiophile version of these, I have no idea. When you could go out and buy these for $1. Of course, John, you know, $1 records now are $10. But
exactly,
there are plenty of them out there.
We saw that happen too. I mean, we saw them as $1 when their interest wasn't there, and then when vinyl took off with the next generation after us, I mean, you saw them slowly creep up, and you're like, oh, you know, I should have bought that for $1.
Hey, AZDH, I'm going to say that How Do I Make You would be a power pop classic in my book.
I agree completely.
When I was playing that second album, I was going, holy crap. Well, we'll get to that record.
Absolutely.
I like
it. Oh yeah, you read my mind on Mad Love. That's exactly what I was going to talk about because
Tim P.
I'm thinking this is right up Grant's alley. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Tim, how are you? Great for showing up. Rich, Billy Steinberg's first commercially released song. I like the original version he did with his band Billy Thermal as well.
Nice.
You know what? That's funny, Rich, because I looked online for the Billy Thermal stuff, and I really want to look at that. I don't. That might be something later.
Me as well.
Because weren't they considered a power pop band? Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Brian McFadden. Holy crap! Look at the people here tonight, man.
Hello,
Thanks
Brian.
everybody for coming on. But anyway, sorry. You know, John, I keep interrupting you because I'm all excited about these records, and I love everybody making comments.
A lot of people are excited about these records. This is awesome.
Hey, who knew? Hey, but we've talked about this. Don't you think Linda needs more love, for crying out loud? These records were big back in the 70s, but who's talking about it now? Throwing it out there. All right, John, I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. You know, I'm like a giddy schoolgirl. Go ahead and let's talk a little bit about what was it? Living in the USA.
The USA.
I almost called it Back in the USA. Don't tell me. I have no idea.
Although that was the first song on the album, Back in the USA.
Right. I'm getting that confused. So
the old Chuck Berry track.
You get to my age, everything's a bit sketchy. All right, John, take it away.
And I'm right behind you, buddy. And so one thing I could definitely say about these albums is that the production, the playing is impeccable.
Yes.
It's impeccable. She has the finest, Linda Ronstadt has the finest musicians around her. Everything's really tight. Very classy production on them. They certainly weren't muffled. I mean, they were produced very, very well. Back in the USA was the first song on the album. This was Chuck Berry's song, and she took this to number 4 charts.
Yeah, she took it to I don't know. The single went. What did the single? You cut out there for a minute. What did that single go to?
Number 16.
Number 16. Yeah.
Yeah, which I was young then. I remember the big hits. I don't remember that one being on the radio. But
I remember it, but I kind of remember Just One Look more, and Ooh Baby Baby probably more than Back in the USA. But back in the day, it used to get a lot of airplay. I don't think so anymore, but you know.
Yeah, you don't really hear these songs on like adult contemporary radio much at all. I mean, nothing for not these albums anyway. I mean, there's other albums. I mean, you hear You're No Good, songs like that.
You hear that if there's going to be one track from Linda, it's going to be You're No Good, and they'll play the hell out of it.
And it was her only number one, which I realized when I did a little research on that. How many hits she had? She only had that one number one hit.
But look at that. She has like 2 greatest hits albums, and it's just chock full of hits, you know.
And then had hits after when she started going into like opera and
those Mexican. Well, she did the records with Nelson Riddle. I don't know how much. I mean, that kind of. I don't know if she really had any hits with that, but certain age group. My dad loved those records. Of course, that was his era. He loved, you know, all that stuff. But she could sing anything.
She could sing anything, and then I believe she was part of Trio.
Yeah.
With Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was huge. I mean, yeah, she really in the '80s she really expanded her horizons. I mean, but on here, you know, she mostly on this album, Living in the USA, she was just doing pop music. But I mean, the second song, When I Grow Too Old to Dream, fantastic vocal performance. She soars on the ballads. I mean, she, like you said, Grant, she could sing anything, but you listen to her sing a ballad and you're like starstruck, you know. I mean,
Hey, Tim P.
Fantastic singer.
Yeah, 100%. Tim P. But isn't she in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Took her a long time to get there, though.
Well, I wouldn't say she's underrated. You may look at her now that she's not, maybe now, but I remember back in the 80s and the 70s, she was just like a machine, you know?
She doesn't get the love that Pat Benatar gets. In all respect to Pat Benatar.
Well, I love Pat too, but Linda could outsing Pat. Oh my God. Don't hate me because of that. And I love Pat Benatar. But Linda Ronstadt's a little, I don't know. Well, Pat could sing opera. I'm sure Linda could probably do it too, but just those,
she
think about
did
it.
some light opera in her career later on.
Yeah.
Like, what would you consider what's new or Lush Life? Well, that like modern pop standards?
Well, that's, I guess, you know, that's kind of like Frank Sinatra. I guess that'd be pop standards. That's what I consider. Yeah.
Peter, it's an interesting topic there. I agree. Oh yeah, I gotta watch that Kajagoogoo show, but
don't tempt Grant. He agreed to what? Byron, calm down. Hey, I like that Kajagoogoo record.
We can get to that.
That's what new with Nelson Riddle Orchestra's a masterpiece, according to Peter Jones, and Peter Jones knows his shit. I'm just saying.
Peter's fantastic.
Fantastic. Right. Even the record she put out in Spanish was impressive. And I've not heard that. I
have not.
I don't know. I'm telling you, this is what I picked up. And I think this is what John's got. But the original album series, it's got, that's what I think. This is out of print too. But I was able to get a sealed copy.
I found it on eBay brand new.
I think they're out there. I got this off of Amazon.
It may have been from Get Import CDs.
Yeah, because this is a European release.
Right. And mine is as well.
But it's a way to get all these records inexpensively. So highly recommend it. You know what? I don't know about you, John, but I know I'm kind of going all over hell.
Yeah, it's all
good.
But
the sound quality on these are great.
The only thing
I think.
Now a little bit again. Only thing I would say is the volume on them are pretty low.
Well, don't forget about that. These were all mastered like in the 80s. With this original album series, most of the time when they do these, they just take the original. They don't do anything with them.
That's a good point. Yeah. Now, that helps with the price.
But kids, you got a volume control. So
yeah.
I'm
just saying. Yeah, because I was listening to these today with a 5 CD changer, and I had albums from 2022 in there. Like I had, here's a shout out to Andy Black Sugar, KMFDM's new latest album, Hyena, in there, and I had Old Crow Medicine Show, Paint This Town in there, and those sound really, they were both released in 2022, and I had the volume turned up pretty high on them, and then actually I didn't have it up very high, but then when Linda albums came on, I had to jack up the volume because
but a lot of the CDs I have in my collection, they're all 80s stuff because normally those are all jacked up. Star, you know what? I just want to throw this out. I don't like to see you all upset and crying. If there's any viewer in this group, I hate to see you upset. And upsets me, Rich Pat was trained. Yep. She was trained opera singer. She's got the pipes. And Star's laughing. She was great in Pirates of Penzance. That's probably what you're thinking of, John. Wasn't that Rex Smith? Wasn't he in that too?
I think so.
Holy mackerel. Things are getting crazy on this channel.
Yeah. So her grandfather was an inventor. Lots of wow.
I didn't know that, Ernesto. Thank God you're here to educate us.
We're getting more education in the comments than we are on the actual show.
I've learned that Star's crying, and I know that Ernesto knows about her grandfather. I know that.
That is crazy.
Kay Keenan, hey. Nice to see you. Thanks for showing up in the chat. Heart Like a Wheel is probably my favorite Ronstadt album, followed by Simple Dreams. Well, if you look at Heart Like a Wheel, that is considered, quote unquote, probably her best record. And that was a contractual record.
Oh, I
Because
didn't know that.
she was going from Capitol to Asylum,
Okay.
and that was a contractual record. Just throwing it out there, but just goes to
Nice.
show you, even if it's a contractual record, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad, though most of the time it is. So anyway, I'm sorry, John. I know we're going on a rant,
Oh,
but
no,
we're
it's
just
all good.
shooting the
You know
shit
what?
on this
We're
record.
excited, because
love it.
we've never done a show just Grant and I.
I know, I like it.
That's part of it, and the part of it that we're talking
Mhm.
about Linda Ronstadt and
Mhm.
all of you watching and commenting. I mean, it's just
why I like
making
to-
this such a top-notch experience.
That's why I like to do live shows, because we can bring everybody in and we can all talk about it.
Yeah,
But anyway, John, what about this? Okay.
this is
What about this record do you like, or what do you dislike about it?
Well, I do like the ballad. I do like the ballads. I think she does a great job on When I Grow Too Old to Dream. She does that wonderful. Ooh Baby Baby. I love that version. David Sanborn, I believe, playing saxophone on this song too, and I believe he also plays on Allison, which was a big hit for. Well, wasn't it? Was
He
Elvis
does. He
Costello's
plays the alto
first popular
sax on that.
Yes, he does. I mean, there's a living legend right there, David Sanborn. Amazing.
Holy mackerel.
But Just One Look, that's a very cool version too. That nearly hit the top 40.
Yeah, got to number 44.
It did.
And you should mention, or I'm going to mention, what the hell, we're just rapping. That originally was a hit in the UK with the Hollies, which reached number 2 in April 1964. Nice. And you know what? I just want to say this. Normally, I don't like, I would look at the Hollies as being the definite version. But correct me if I'm wrong, John. Her version, I think, just as good.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. And any of you have ever seen me on any shows, I talk a lot about my favorite band, which is Little Feat. And there's a Little Feat song on here, All That You Dream, which Paul Barrere wrote. It was originally on the last record album. This is a fine version. It is a better version than the original, because I thought the production on last record album was pretty flat. But she does a very good version on here.
I think it's great.
And I'm not going to say it touches the live version from Waiting for Columbus, but Little Feat's Waiting for Columbus. But I do like what Linda Ronstadt really did with this song.
But you have to think about it. Her choice of material, whether it was, Peter Asher, I'm not sure what the behind the scenes, how we came up with the material on this record. But the songwriting, the songs that were chosen. I mean, Linda Ronstadt wasn't a songwriter, but boy, could she pick good material. I'll leave it at that.
Rich, I echo your sentiments in that comment. That is, you can't say it any better than that. You can't. All the way around. Muhammad's Radio, that's a Warren Zevon song. I think she does that one very well also.
Yeah, that's off of Warren's 1976 album. He originally had like an album that came out in 68 or 69. I don't know what, but this was like his first album that came out in 76, and it's on there. But that's a great album too. And I must say, on Muhammad's Radio, since we're talking about it, David Sanborn on this track just hits it out of the park. In fact, his sax work, I know we're talking David Sanborn, but I think his work on this record, it stands out.
Absolutely. I like all the other tracks. Admittedly, I wasn't as familiar with them before I heard them now. Did she have any hits that weren't hits before she covered it? Her versions are great, but it seems like I know previous versions. She did.
We'll get to that on the next record.
Yes, we will. Absolutely.
So Byron, just hold tight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Living in the USA. This was a very big album for Linda. It went double platinum.
Yeah.
And I would give this an 8 out of 10.
8's pretty good.
Yeah, I give it an 8.
I'm not even sure if I have to tally this. I'm gonna. I think all your points are very strong, and I know we've kind of been reviewing this together.
Yeah.
I keep jumping in because I'm sorry,
All
I
good.
get so excited.
Yeah, it's all good. I love it. I love the camaraderie.
Well, that's what it's about.
Yes, it is.
I don't like people coming on my show and giving a speech. I'd rather us have a conversation and talk about these records and keep it
Right.
loose. So
Yeah, we're riffing.
I will say I think her version of Back in the USA is killer. I think Don Grolnick, which is playing the piano on this record and doing some electric piano. Holy crap, is he good?
Mm-hmm.
When I Grow Too Old to Dream, which is a pop standard by Sigmund Romberg and lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein. I mean, that's kind of like a, foreshadowing of things to come to some degree.
Absolutely.
I mean, the orchestra's not there, but you could already tell here that she really likes that material. And Mike Mananieri, if I'm pronouncing that right, is doing vibraphone on here. Mm-hmm. The thing about this, I know you mentioned the volume thing because it was mastered in the 80s.
Yes.
But if you look at the graphs on this, none of this record's jacked up at all. And it sounds very natural, like they took the tapes and just did a flat transfer. It really sounds great.
Right.
I'm going to say, if you're looking for anything, this is a cheap buy if you can find it. And I mean, I've only visited 2 of the records on here, but God, holy mackerel. I can hardly wait to look at more. But let me say, Just One Look. Oh, holy man, how is so good. That spent 8 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, reaching number 44. Mm-hmm. And like we said, the Hollies had done it, and I think she totally took that song and made it her own. I like both versions. I have no issue. But for the most part, I think I like the next record, just between us girls. I like the next record better, but I don't have any issues with this record at all. All these remakes, and the band's so good, the production's so good. Peter Asher as a producer is so excellent that I think I'd probably rate this a 7 out of 10. Okay. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because, I mean, they're all covers. I mean, that's fine. Yes, she makes it her own, but let's say if she wrote the whole album, it was brilliant, I could give her a 10. Her vocals alone should be a 10, but I think I would just give it a solid, maybe 7, 7.5. Right. Like I said, after revisiting this, John, after a bazillion years, I don't know, it was an enjoyable listen, and it's easy on the ears. It's something that's very accessible.
Yes.
Her vocal stylings, it's not like something you have to ease into, I agree. You listen to the record and holy crap, it's great.
Absolutely. I echo your sentiments completely on this record. I mean, everything you said. But yes, I mean, this has been nice experience. I mean, just mentioning that and then going out and picking this up. And just to let y'all know out there watching, if there's these original album series, these collections, if you're curious about getting into a band, you have nothing by them, make sure you pick these up. I got into a lot of artists this way. Mm-hmm. And I also filled in some gaps in my collections this way too. I got into Rory Gallagher by buying an original album series.
I have not seen Rory's original album series. I bet you that was a UK one, I bet.
And the same thing with Robin Trower. That's how I got into him too. But what was funny was I bought that for less than $20, and I reviewed it on Amazon a whole bunch of years ago. And after I reviewed it, maybe a year or so later, somebody puts a comment in there and says, "I should have listened to you. I tried to buy it. Now it's $150.
Yes,
they only make so many of them."
Well, yeah, and it's just like the Kaja Gugu one.
Hmm.
Byron's all worked up about Kaja Gugu. But if you try to look for the original album series version of Kaja Gugu's material, it's expensive. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, it
But
all depends. It seems like the more rare the artist, the easier it might go out of print because you can't find the original albums anymore.
yeah, I don't
Whereas
know how
like
many of these they printed. I don't know how that works.
whereas like the Doobie Brothers, who you still hear a lot on the radio, you've been able to buy their original album series
Mhm.
for quite a while now and still get it for less than $20.
Yeah. Hey, Scott Dog, thanks for coming on and participating.
Hi,
I love
Scott.
it. Star, I've been listening to her all day since I saw you guys were doing an episode on her. Lots of nostalgia. Damn it, Star. I hope your problem with tears and crying is I hope you've cheered up now. Oh, Psycho's
Oh,
platters.
Psycho's Platters.
I like it. I had to look at the spelling and go, Psychos. Thanks for coming on. This is freaking incredible.
Nice. I'll tell you what, well, Peter once again makes a excellent point here.
I can't argue with that. And
That's
don't forget
true.
Neil Young and when we're looking at Mad Love, because a lot of those records are from that power pop band.
Hmm.
Brain Problem, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
You're right.
I'm not worked up over well, hey, but Psycho, I'm just saying, who's covering Kaja Gugu? Not many people.
That's right.
And my show's all about talking about these bands and artists that people don't talk about. Yeah, I may throw out some bands. We did a couple episodes on Kiss. I'd like to get some ratings to some degree. I think the younger generation overlook. Oh, I agree. If I brought my son on here, he would have no idea who Linda Ronstadt was. Well, he might, but my daughter, all the kids nowadays, all they do is listen to rap. They would not know anything about this.
Or something that there's been a documentary on, like or a rockumentary that on
Right.
already. That's what the youth is discovering, which is great. But I mean,
Jay Morey 9 came here for the wig, and I could put the wig on. Eric, hey, you need to listen. You need to listen to USA. I have to agree. I love Mad Love, and at the time when Mad Love well, we're going to hit that in a minute.
That's right.
When Mad Love came out, it kind of got mixed reviews. Oh, Star, you have COVID? Oh,
sorry to hear that, Star.
Holy freaking mackerel! Steve Schnee is in the house.
Hello,
Holy
Steve.
there he is. The Cretones.
Like your channel, Steve. I just subscribed after watching one of Grant's shows.
Pete Jones, she had tons of great writers. Yep.
Certainly did.
Well, Star, I like it when you're on or not on. I just want you to be well. BM Bolt, I see tons of her vinyl in the dollar bin, but I normally pass on them. I may grab a few. I only had 10. All right, kids. I was like you, Byron. There was like, you'd go through the dollar bins and it was like the Linda Ronstadt albums were breeding and making more Linda Ronstadt albums. But most of those original Asylum albums were all mastered by Bernie Grunman. Why you would ever need a new audiophile release, I have no idea. But they did do that. And the crazy audiophiles still bought it. But man, you can go in the cheapy bins and get Linda all day. I probably should have went to the cheapy bins instead of buying this, but whatever. I talk a good talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know you came here for the wig. I'm gonna wear the wig on the next show. I think we're doing a Beach Boys show tomorrow. I may wear the wig for that, but I don't know if Beach Boys really qualifies to be a wig wearing show.
Yeah, they had crew cuts. I think they did. But yeah.
Yeah, Tim P. Star, we wish you all the best and recover quickly. Cost of Love rocks similarly to How Do I Make You? All right. Scott, she was also go ahead.
I'm gonna dig deep in. Thanks to our banter here. I'm gonna I'm going to dig deeper after this, after I really ingest this collection here. I mean, y'all are motivating me. Here are your comments.
Well, you know,
Great.
John, that's what this is about. We talk the music, we get worked up, we throw the shit out to the public. Hopefully we can turn other people onto it. That's what it's about. And I don't care what you listen to this on. You can listen to this on vinyl. You can listen to it on CD. I could give a crap what the medium is. It's all about the music, like Mazzy says on Mazzy's channel. It's all about the music. I saw the whole section for Linda in a well, yeah, I'm sure you did.
You know what you got to do, Byron.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for the kind words.
Thank you, Jay.
Look at you, Peter Jones, drummer extraordinaire.
Absolutely.
Naming your band after Asylum and not the Kiss album. Huh, I'll be damned.
Which would have been 10 years later, yeah.
You need the wig for Kajagoogoo, Grant. Make sure it's spiked and big.
You know,
well, I wore it on the Power Pop episode. It made me feel, I don't know, made me feel kind of warm and gooey when I wear it. I don't know.
You know, I didn't watch the Kajagoogoo show.
Oh,
we're going to talk about Mad Love shortly.
We're going to do Mad Love right now.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, then I'll talk about the Kajagoogoo later.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's lead into Mad Love.
Yeah. Let's bang this out.
All right. You show the thing. I'm going to read my spiel. All right. So I give Living in the USA 7 and John gives that an 8. Mad Love was the next record that came out in 1980. This was the 10th studio album by Linda. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard album chart. And at the time, it was the first for any female artist. And wow, that's amazing. Think about it. It debuted at number 5 on the Billboard chart, and no other female had done that.
Pre-SoundScan, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is
I didn't know that. That is, I mean, because back then, I mean, you may have had albums sell great out of the gate, but then you'd think they'd be number 1 and they wouldn't be. In fact, more often than not, they wouldn't even be top 10, top 20.
Right.
But then maybe the second week you'd see the big leap. But no, that's impressive.
It is impressive. So, but this became her 7th consecutive album to sell over 1 million copies, and it was certified platinum. And the record was also nominated for a Grammy. If you've done any research on this record, this was Linda's punk rock new wave record. It's very new wave, but, you know, with a hint of California slickness. Let's say that, you know?
Yeah.
This record contains 3 songs by Elvis Costello: Party Girl, Girls Talk, and Talking in the Dark, as 3 tracks from the Cretones' first album, Thin Line, 1980. And I know Steven Schnee's on here. Steven, you're probably familiar with the Cretones album, aren't you? But it's still in print. It's on, I actually ordered it today because these songs on here are so great, you know? Anyway, I got it. All Music gave this record 3 out of 5. Robert Christgau, he gave the other one a B. He gave this one a B-. Rolling Stones mixed. The Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know.
What kind of drugs they were smoking at the time?
I'm not sure. You know what? Think about it at the time. Maybe they were, you know, maybe this was too radical for Linda at the time. We could look at this record now and go, oh yeah, that's cool, hip. There's a lot of power pop on this record. There's a lot of new wave elements on it. And we can look at it and go, holy crap. But think about it at the time. Everybody then wanted another, what was that record? 1975 record? Help me. You know what I'm talking about.
75?
Heart Like a Wheel. Everybody wanted another Heart Like a Wheel.
Yeah.
And this totally went against the grain. But I think this is a fine record. Heart Like a Wheel is a perfect album for me. I know. Simple Dreams is also very easy to find on 8-track.
That too.
Who else could
I agree with
masterfully
Hurt So Bad.
Yeah. Peter Jones is all over it again. Holy
What a
crap.
versatile
If
singer.
we could
Absolutely.
take Peter Jones and make a mold of him and mass produce Peter Jones, what can I say? We'd be all over it.
Absolutely.
Danny played guitar for Linda on some of this album. He also played with Neil Young. Well, Danny played on a lot of stuff, you know, same with, well, Andrew Gold's on this, but he's not on it very much. Andrew Gold's all
Background
over.
vocals.
Yeah, but he's all over Hurt Like a Wheel. In fact, Andrew Gold pretty much, that was his baby pretty much. And I love Andrew Gold. May he rest in peace. I'd like to do an Andrew Gold look at his Asylum albums. There's, you know what, kids? There's so much shit we want to cover on here. It's just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Rich. Elvis is rather uncharitable about her doing his songs apart from saying he enjoyed the royalties. It's true. I don't think he cared for her rendition of Allison's, what he didn't like. In fact, I think she performed in South Africa, I believe, and he took all of his royalties from that record and donated to the South Africans. 11 albums certified platinum is all the critical acclaim that matters. The people have spoken. My God.
Yeah, the thing
Peter
is,
Jones.
at least a lot of these comments and this brings something to mind for me. I mean, yes, Linda wasn't a songwriter, but the fact that she was taking these great songs by these wonderful songwriters who hadn't really crossed over into the mainstream yet, and then she's introducing them to a lot of people by having these songs on albums that sold millions of copies, and then you're like, oh, maybe I want to check out Elvis Costello, because I mean, I love Elvis Costello, but I mean, he was never he never really went mainstream. I mean,
well,
you know what I mean?
Well, think about this, John. In 1978, she's covering Elvis Costello. Who is covering Elvis Costello in 1978?
Yeah,
who's covering Elvis Costello in 1980, for crying out loud?
Right, and in 1978, he was only on the second album, This Year's Model at that point.
Right.
So the fact that she was doing songs by Warren Zevon, doing songs by Little Feat, doing songs by Elvis Costello, she's introducing these songs as an interpreter. I mean, she was a star, but she was also a fantastic interpreter of this music. I mean, just like Judy Collins was doing Joni Mitchell songs back in the day, and David Crosby and Crosby, Stills and Nash were singing Joni Mitchell songs, and Tom Rush was singing Joni Mitchell songs.
Holy crap, look at
before
Rich.
She made it on her own.
Right. Look, we've inspired Rich to spend money.
Oh, excellent, Rich.
Good for you, Rich. Spend some money. So anyway, John the Music Nut, I want to thank you for coming on again. Give me your synopsis on Mad Love. What's your whole thoughts behind this record?
I love this record. I love this record. This was, when I was listening to this, I'm like, okay, early 1980. What happened in 1979? The Knack hit with My Sharona 6 weeks in a row at number one. Power pop was getting popular. The Cheap Trick, we're still riding high with the Dream Police album.
True.
The Cars were pretty huge at this point. I think Candy O was in 79.
79.
80 was, yeah. So
Panorama.
Panorama was in 1980. So when you listen to these songs, you hear things that sound similar to the Cars. You hear songs that are similar to the great power pop of its day. I think it's a wonderful album. Like, I can see myself listening to this album often for many years to come. You know, I love Cheap Trick. I own the whole catalog.
Well, this fits right in with all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at the song "How Do I Make You." That is a power pop. People might not consider Linda power pop, but holy crap, there's a lot of power pop on this record.
Yeah, and Byron, you're talking about songs that somebody didn't make famous before.
Right.
This song wasn't famous until Linda Ronstadt did it. How Do I Make You?
Holy crap. Daddy Bog's on here. Hey, Daddy, what's
Hi,
up?
Daddy Bog.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
So this album, I mean, "Can't Let Go" was the third single off this album. I love that song. That song went to number 31. But if you talk about the album, if we go in order here, and that's the one thing about these albums, the print on them so small. No matter how strong your glasses are, you're not gonna be able to read it.
Yeah, you
So
can't.
I'm reading it from. So I'm reading
I
it from
mean,
the
you can't
back
see
here.
any of this.
No, you can't. But Mad Love, the opening, the title track is fantastic. Party Girls, excellent song. How Do I Make You is pure power pop. When I was listening to these albums just in the last month or so, you ever have these songs where you heard them a long time ago and they just went out of your memory?
Oh, yeah, it
And
happens.
then you heard them again and you're like, oh, she did this song? That's how I felt about How Do I Make You.
This whole record, I swear to God, I haven't heard this since like 1982. And when I heard it again, I went, holy crap, why didn't I pay more attention to this back in the day?
It's a wonderful record.
Holy
I'm
mackerel.
reading Steve's comment here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
nice.
ahead, read it, John. Read it.
I interviewed Linda less than a decade ago and asked her about Warren Zevon and Andrew Gold. I talked about a song that she appeared on Warren's Bad Luck Streak in High School album. She didn't remember it, so I had to send her the MP3 and she loved it, but still didn't remember recording it. That's interesting.
But think about that. Her back in the 70s, the amount of, in and out of the studios all the time and appearing on other people's albums. She was like a machine. You would lose track of all that stuff. Think about it.
No doubt about it.
I like the way she switches the role in Party Girl to singing as
the titular subject.
I can't. I need to put my glasses on. The titular subject. Okay. All right, Rich. Yeah, Daddy. Hey, thanks for coming on again. Mad Love was in a box of albums I picked up cheap. I didn't have high hopes when I put it on, but recognized almost half of the songs on it. I've really enjoyed it. Eric Robertson, Mad Love is almost as consistent as Heart Like a Wheel. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to Heart Like a Wheel. I had roommates back in the day when I was at OSU that loved Heart Like a Wheel and just thought it was a gift from the gods. I'm gonna have to go re-listen to it. But like I said, like in that era when I was like I was 20, 18, 17, I really didn't pay that much attention to it. But now I'm thinking it's great. So what tracks on this record on Mad Love? I don't know. Is there anything on here you particularly like? I mean, like I said, it's very new wave. It's very power pop for the most part.
Nearly everything How Do I Make You is fantastic. That's just pure power pop. I think it's about 2 trackless, 2 minutes, 25 seconds. I Hurt So Bad was the song that I really remember, and that was the biggest hit. That hit number 8. That song kicks. That is a fantastic song. It's wonderful. Love it. I liked Linda's version of Neil Young's "Look Out for My Love."
It's beautiful.
It makes it really mellow. I love that a lot. Cost of Love is fantastic. That could have been a hit single, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one of the 3 Goldenberg tracks on here well, by listening to this record, I wanted to go back and pick up that power pop record, and listen to that. Luckily, it's still in print. But Hurt So Bad got a lot of airplay. And that originally was recorded by Little Anthony and the Imperials. But again, John, she makes this her own.
Yeah, and I don't know the original very well. I'm going to say it wasn't as big a hit, but I could be wrong. And I know my older music pretty well, but I don't remember the original of that all too well. I mean, I know I've heard it. Right. But Girls Talk, I think that's one of the Elvis Costello songs on here. Yep. Does a great job with that. I enjoy nearly every.
I like the whole damn thing. I like the whole
damn thing myself. Yes, I would give this before you go on. I'm gonna give this a 9.
I give it a 9 as well.
Yeah.
Because look at this. She was able to take all these different tracks out of different eras, but
Hmm.
they sound fresh, they sound new wavy. You know, you've got I Can't Let Go that came out in 1966 for the Hollies, and we can just bring it right into 1980 and it fits right in.
Exactly.
I think this album's fabulous. And again, if she would write stuff, I'd give it a higher rating, but
You're right.
uh, it's a great I love this record. I could listen to this all the time, and I've been listening to it for a week, John, and I haven't gotten tired of it. I've
Yeah.
listened to this more than this one. I like this one, don't get me wrong, but oh my God, this is so good, and it
Yeah.
still stands up.
I
I
agree
can't
with you.
believe
Like,
it.
yeah, I was the same. Like, I read the reviews before I listened to these, and I'm like, what are they talking about? This Mad Love
Yeah, I don't
album,
get it.
very, very good.
Mm-hmm. You know, I was looking online. At least it said that on.
Different drum.
Well, they took Mad Love and they it went out of print, and then they brought these out in like I don't know 2012. And according to Wikipedia, these are out of print, even though you can still find them. But I just don't think people are giving Linda much credit anymore or looking for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, and a lot of these, I think a lot of them might be like $12, $14. So just get the original album series. You can't go wrong.
I will say this, me going and looking in the wild lot for used stuff, I always see Linda Ronstadt's greatest hits in the used CD bins, but I don't really see any other of her regular albums. You may see Heart Like a Wheel once in a blue moon, but normally it's always the greatest hits records.
It sold 7 million copies. I saw that first
Wow.
greatest hits album. Wow.
Yeah, well, Linda was big, you know.
And back then, before you can make your own collections and all that, greatest hits albums were a big thing. So,
Daddy Bog, Linda Ronstadt, the Queen, and Johnny Rivers, the king of cover songs.
Well, spot about Johnny Rivers. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think I can argue with that.
I can't either.
Well, here you go, Rich. Her soft rock fans must have been kind of shocked when they saw Linda with close cropped hair and doing new wave. She obviously wasn't afraid of change and getting with the times. No, I think by that time she's had enough success that she could probably push the envelope a little bit and kind of do what she wants to do. Was it a risk? The record company probably like dropped an ovary, but I think they were okay because I think this record went really, it sold respectively,
And she kept doing it throughout her career. She kept changing her sound.
Right.
I mean, you got to really respect her as an artist for not just staying in one lane, just keep trying to do different genres and doing it all very successfully.
Right.
What a talent.
Yeah, incredible. Star Talking in the Dark has
It does.
had oh my God. Yes.
I thought the same thing. It sounded like something from the early albums, like before. Well, I believe that might have been the third or fourth. It sounded like a little bit before that.
It could be that Elvis Costello connection too, in the way the songwriting is, but I totally agree with that, Star.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I listened to that track.
Have you heard Elvis's original version of Talking in the Dark? I've probably heard, well, I think I've got all those Rhino 2 CD sets that came out. Most of them. A
couple of them.
I got most of them. There's a couple I don't have because they're they cost an arm and a leg now.
But like the original album series, they only made so many.
They only made so much.
And they only made so many, and you were able to get them pretty reasonable, and they were killer because the second disc with all these B-sides and live songs, they were great. And a few years later, you couldn't find them.
Hey, Rich, what era was Talking in the Dark? What album would that have been? If it was on an album, what album would that have been on?
You would have been later, like
80?
Like Trust, maybe? Well, Armed Forces was 80. I think Trust was 81.
But this came out, maybe it came out.
It came out in 80. But maybe he released it later on his own.
Look, Van Halen has cover songs on all over the catalog. Thank you, David Lee Roth. Covers only suck at the performance sucks. All right.
Yeah, speaking
You're
of
right.
that, thank you, Peter, for bringing that up. I'm not a fan of their version of You're No Good, Van Halen's version.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Hmm.
It's the only that's on Van Halen 2 from '79. To me, that's the only dud on the record. I mean, it's not a good. I mean, the rest of the
Isn't it
album
on the
kicks.
first album?
It's on Van Halen 2. You're No Good.
I thought
I'm
it
talking
was
about
after
Van
Eruption.
Halen's version.
Oh, I was thinking
Oh,
you
you're
really
thinking
got me.
you're thinking you really
Sorry,
got me.
people.
Out of King.
Sorry. Please don't drag me over the coals for that.
Yeah, but I mean that second album is a killer, except for that that sludgy version of I didn't like it back in the day. I'm still not into it.
So accidents will happen. That I believe that's
That Imperial Bedroom?
no, you're too late. That's 82.
Okay.
Accidents will happen is oh, for God's sakes.
That's
Well, it is on Taking Liberties. That's true.
Is that on
oh my God.
Trust?
No, you're too late. Go back one more record. Armed Forces.
Armed Forces.
You. Armed Forces.
Armed Forces. I was going to say Get Happy next.
Yeah. Well, Joe Cocker did a lot of covers.
Yeah, there's a master interpreter right there. Oh my gosh.
1979, yeah.
Okay.
You're No Good seems really. Do you think it really seems out of place? I don't.
Yeah, I agree with Byron on that. It's just the rest of the album is like a party record, and then that's just like it sounds like The Hangover. You know, I mean, it's just like so sludgy and slow.
Hang on, let me go look and see on my Rhino CD. So John, entertain the crowd.
Well, if I had balls right now to juggle, I would do that. But sadly, we don't have any. But I'll tell you what, I'm like I said at the beginning of this show, I just said this very tongue in cheek, but I'm going to really dig deep into Elvis Costello's catalog. I'm sorry, Linda Ronstadt's catalog after this. Elvis Costello, I got to dig deep into. I got those early records. I have that. Yeah, I have the 2-disc. That 2-disc version is wonderful.
Let's see if it's on here. Yeah, Talking in the Dark's the second track on the bonus CD.
Okay, I haven't listened. Well, I have it, but I guess I haven't listened.
I'm gonna have to listen to it again because it's
I'm gonna have to get reacquainted with it because I don't remember the second CD as well on that as I do on this year's model.
I know the vinyl community may frown, but these Rhino CDs with all these bonus tracks and they're just jam packed and they're all out of print. I think Elvis's stuff. Yeah, they're on Hippo or something now. But anyway, it's on here. You can find some of this stuff in the wild if you're lucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Armed Forces. Yeah. Yeah. I had Taking Liberties, but I sold it. It's kind of rare.
Yeah, almost
everybody agrees.
Maybe we're gonna have to.
Do you dance, John? I don't know, John. Do you dance?
Not much now. I'm getting too beat up.
Listen to some Cry of Love, John.
Oh, I have. I've been listening to Alma La, Byron. I gotta pick up that second one before we do that series. Okay, there's little hint of what's coming up in the next month.
Richard Alderson, Dusty Springfield. Oh yeah, that's good.
Absolutely.
Tim Allen. Hey Tim, how are you?
Hi Tim.
Taking Liberty was a collect. Yep. I had the CD. It came out on Columbia, and that's one of those old Columbia CDs you just never hardly ever see. Peter Jones, she is simply put in my mind one of the most important singers of all rock. Listen to everything she touches.
Peter, let me ask you, do you, and Grant,
yes, sir.
Do you ever hear any of those later albums, like Cry Like a Rainstorm, How Like the Wind? And what do you think of those? Because, I knew the hits. But I mean, at that point, I was like going from like hard rock to classic rock stage.
Right.
But I mean, I heard the song; it was all over the radio.
Yeah, but like I said back in the day,
but how was the album overall?
She wasn't in my wheelhouse.
Right.
I mean, I heard some of the
singles,
singles, but I've never heard any of that stuff.
Yeah, like when she was at this late 70s, early 80s peak, I wasn't buying music yet. That came a couple of years later.
You're talking about the original British vinyl pressings of Elvis Costello? You probably are. I think I've got an original F beat of this year's model. I'll have to put it back on. I haven't listened to it in a long time. She sold her complete catalog for 10. Okay.
I could see why. A lot of artists.
Yeah, well,
she's 76 years old now, and her a lot of health issues, so I can understand that.
I had 10 Bloody Marys and 10 How's Your Father's back in the day too. That was on F beat, I think, and it sounded great. In fact, a lot of those original Elvis Costello 80s CDs on F beat, those original pressings sound really good. I learned that from the Steve Hoffman site.
There you go.
Yeah, Dave the pickup artist. Hey, there he greeting from Jackass Flats. Hey,
Hello,
Dave, how are you? Thanks for popping in. Linda is an artist that I listen to regardless of style and popularity.
There you go.
I would buy her singing the phone book. My God, I should have had Peter Jones on here too. It's just like a love fest.
I know. It's awesome.
Who knew? Who knew?
Thank you all for your comments.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in and
Absolutely.
making comments. It makes it a lot more fun. But this is why I like to do live shows. I mean, it just depends upon the artist, but I haven't done a live show. And I thought, oh, what the hell? Let's just do it live. And it's always more fun to bring in people's comments and
people
interact.
Who really know her music too. I mean, you all
I know
know
Peter Jones.
I
know you're there. I know.
Brian, I gotta ask you.
Go ahead. If you want to ask me a question, go ahead.
You think we should touch these other three bad boys here in a future episode? I mean,
I think we could do that.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I'm looking.
Do you want to just do all three of them at once?
Sure, why not?
Peter Jones. I guess that's an invite.
There you go. Hey.
I guess we could look at that. Or anybody else who wants to join in on it, we can all have a discussion.
Yeah, definitely. It's awesome.
Star, Brett's with us now, so we'll have to join in sometime too. Yeah, where is for crying out loud, Star? I haven't seen Brett in such a long time. I've seen his posts on Facebook, but Brett's been kind of quiet. You guys like keeping him in the Kiss Museum or the Kiss Den, the Kiss Dungeon? Peter Jones, just not yes question mark, yes exclamation point. I think You're No Good is the weakest track on both of Linda's albums and Van Halen 2. Why is that, Eric? I think You're No Good's great. Most of that was done by Andrew Gold. He put all that track together.
Is that on Heart Like a Wheel originally?
Yeah.
You're No Good? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know, Star, I'm not sure if that, you know what? I'm not sure if that's something you should share.
That is a wonderful Kiss cave, though.
It is.
Shared with us on
but the fact that he's in there watching wrestling kind of makes me concerned, but that's okay.
Well, I hope it's old school wrestling. That's all I got to say.
Daddy Bob, Chrissy Hine would be a good topic down the road. Okay. I'd love to look at those Pretenders albums.
I have an original albums classic by the Pretenders too.
I've got the Target CDs of them.
Okay.
I know, Star. Fun. It's always fun to throw Brett out there into the world without him knowing it.
I gotta ask you, Grant.
Yes, John.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking to Pretenders here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You ever hear that album "Break Up the Concrete"?
No.
That is a very good album. I have a copy of it. I gotta get an original. I think I burned it from eMusic originally, but
yeah,
That was, in my opinion, a return to form. That album was very good. I mean, that was probably 2007, 2008, maybe, but that was very good. But yeah, those early albums, for the first three, I love those albums.
Yeah. Oh well, the first two I think are incredible, and the third one is not bad. You
The
know,
third,
once
well,
James Honeyman Scott
once James
died
Honeyman
and
Scott died, they
Fondon
weren't
died and
quite
they lost the original band, I kind of
they weren't quite the same. I agree. Yeah, yeah, I'd go with that because I mean, even though Learning to Crawl is very popular, I and has Middle of the Road and Back on the Chain Gang and Thin
Back
Line
on the
Between Love
Train
and
Gang's
Hate.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, Back on the Chain Gang was wonderful, and that came out, I believe, a year before it came out. Learning to Crawl originally was just a single.
Yeah, Nicolette Larson, Jay. That's a interesting catalog to look at. Who would be talking about Nicolette Larson? But man, the records that she's played on with Neil Young, and of course she's singing background on um How Do I Make You?
Really?
Yeah, that's Nicolette Larson on backing
Oh,
vocals.
nice. I didn't look into that. Nicolette Larson. I talked about this on your channel once, Grant. We You were talking about obscure albums, and I talked about the Georgia Satellites' third album, In the Land of Salvation and Sin. Dan Baird, wonderful songwriter, and not just like a Chuck Berry 3-chord songwriter. Wrote a wonderful song on an album called Sweet Blue Midnight, which is like this tearjerker country song. It's a duet with Nicolette Larson. Wonderful, wonderful. 1989. It's on that album. I think
Maybe we should look at that.
10. Oh, I love that album. Love that album.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, my favorite, one of my favorites, by far my favorite. Well, the Satellites only did 4 records, and the fourth one they didn't have Dan Baird anymore.
Well, who's talking about Georgia Satellites? They could use some love.
Oh, we could talk about the Georgia Satellites in 10 minutes.
Hey, Pete Jones, yeah, how many volumes in that phone book?
There you go. I have to check that one out, Rich. Thanks for bringing that up.
Hey, Kay, Mr. Keenan, are they remastered? Is that vinyl or CD? I don't remember any Linda albums coming out remastered on CD. It must be album. Please let me know because I'm not sure. Linda did, yeah. Or the Eagles backed her up. I don't know how you want to.
Well, they backed her up in the Stone Ponies. That I know.
Holy crap, Tim Allen. I would argue that the Pretenders have never made a bad album. However, they are not all great. I haven't heard all the Pretenders albums, but I cannot imagine Chrissie Hynde would put out a bad record. They might, like you said, I don't think they're not all great or classics like the first two, but you know.
I gotta re-listen to Get Close. A lot of that album just kind of, I'm not a big fan of that album. Maybe I should revisit that. That's part of the original album series. Yeah. James Honeyman Scott had a very distinct style playing.
Oh, he was incredible.
He was.
That band, that first Pretenders band was just hot shit. And just the energy, the power, the songwriting. The first album, that would be one of my Desert Eyes. That would be one of my Desert Island discs. I could listen to that album over and over and never get tired of it.
And there's a lot of eclecticism on that album. I mean, that instrumental Space Invader, which was used in the Sopranos episode at the beginning, I love that track. Mystery Achievement, Kid. I mean, there's so many great songs on there. And,
go ahead.
And it's not just all a rock album. I mean, there's
Peter Jones. Let's remember this. Her timing was perfect and lucky. Her huge range of styles would be a huge problem in today's pop environment. Look at the blow Shania Twain got for swimming in 2 pools. Well, I don't think. Well, who else could possibly do that? Adele, maybe. but I don't know how Linda Ronstadt would fare in today's market. For one, no one plays that type of music, but Adele's that's the closest thing that I could even think of.
Peter brings up a good point here. Back then, though, radio was more receptive, and I think a lot of fans. I mean, we're big music fans, all of us on here talking and all. Right. But I mean, the public itself, I don't think they're as receptive to bands trying a lot of different styles like they were back then. I mean, back in the 70s, it was just the radio played everything back then. If you really think about how eclectic that decade was, now everything now, I think on your terrestrial radio stations, I mean, they try to put everything in a little box.
Right.
And we don't, somebody tries to do something different, we don't give it a chance. A lot of times it's just not good. But a lot of times, you know, it is good. It's just something you're not used to, and then you pass on it too quick. So,
The Last of the Independents had some great.
Night in My Veins is a great song.
Yeah. But you know, what's that say though? It's just funny. You know, all these artists, it's almost like the 80s when Heart sold out, Cheap Trick sold out, and they had all these outside writers. Chrissie Hynde, I can't imagine would need an outside writer, but
yeah,
I mean, what year did
funk.
I know, but what year did Last of the Independents come out? I mean,
94.
That was 94, so maybe by
that
that
was the one I'll Stand By You on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
They would have tried to push her into a permanent direction.
Jose Feliciano. You know what? This is the first time Jose Feliciano has been mentioned on this channel.
Well, all right.
AZ. Jose Feliciano introduced Linda on Midnight Special as a country artist, but she was pretty much doing country then. That was probably some of her early stuff. Her voice was so good that she could make I agree.
Okay.
See her great version of Your. I've seen that because it's got Andrew Gold playing guitar on that, and I love Andrew Gold.
How many solo albums did he got?
Well, he did 3 on Asylum.
Okay.
And then they dropped him. I think his fourth one was in 1980 or 81. There's a Rhino set out with all of his records on it, and then he just did stuff.
Like session work.
Yeah, but there's a album that he did that was kind of like a concept album where he did all the instruments, and it was like a psychedelic. It's called the Fraternal Order of Love.
Okay.
It is fabulous. I mean, he'll do a Jimi Hendrix song, but they're not. He's written songs like them. There'll be a Bird song. There'll be, you know, a Holly song on there. It's incredible.
Gotcha.
And I think that came out in 1997. It's absolutely brilliant.
Nice.
But yeah, I like Andrew Gold.
Education.
He was a brilliant musician. I remember hearing Bob Marley playing on the progressive rock station, my first exposure to reggae.
Probably, progressive rock station. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Because I was thinking, okay, well, Eric Clapton redid I Shot the Sheriff, but that wouldn't be progressive rock. So,
well, you know, Tim P back in the day before Clear Channel took over and homogenized everything. So now you go to everybody plays the same thing.
Yeah,
you know, radio used to be a regional thing, you know, John. It used to be a regional thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I believe that.
I believe Chrissy, be honest.
Really?
I did not know that.
Gotta look into that.
Her performance of Long Time on the Midnight Special in 1973 is epic.
This is why I say I was born a little too late, because I would have loved a Midnight Special back in the day, but I was just getting out of diapers probably.
AOR, Ernesto, AOR.
That's right.
In fact, Ernesto, I need to work on this because Ernesto had a topic he wants to do an ARR little AOR episode where we kind of look at well,
how great it used to be and now how
and
it's
now
so
it
mediocre.
yes. So I'm working on that. So anybody wants to be on that,
Let me know.
let me know.
You let me know.
I've got so many things that I've got in the pipeline. It's hard for me to keep it all straight. It is very country, pedal steel and acoustic guitar, but no one in country had her power, range, or emotional delivery. Streaming in the 70s. What the F is that? Ooh, my city just lost its last independent radio station 2 days ago. Sorry to hear that, Tim.
I'm sorry to hear that too. Was
Yeah.
that pun intended? That was pretty brilliant.
Well, I know QFM 96 in Columbus
My
is
city just lost.
independent. I think there's a company in Columbus that might own 3 stations, but I think QFM's still pretty much independent. It's just a classic rock station. Daddy, but I'm as old as the Beach Boys striped shirts. Well, according to your avatar there, you do get around. So there you go. Wolfman Jack, yeah. Well, we've went an hour and 16 minutes. Do you have anything else you want to touch on, John, the music nut?
I'm glad we did this exercise. I think we should. Linda's still alive.
Linda's still alive. Trish. Star radio is crap. Even Sirius play this. Oh, well, yeah.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, even if you put on Hair Nation or New First Wave or something like that, they have a playlist. They keep playing the same stuff over.
Right.
They will switch it out a little bit, but not much. But at least you have some variety. But you just have to go to a different channel. Whereas back in the day, you would have it on the same channel.
Yeah, I don't stream anything. I've got so much music that I don't need to stream. I just like load stuff off on my iPhone and walk the dog with headphones and stuff.
I still have Sirius XM, but it came with the new car that I got 10 years ago, and
yeah,
I listen to a lot of sports talk radio on there and stuff.
We
like
have
that.
Sirius XM in our car. I listen to it in there. Hullabaloo and Shindig, old shows. A lot of that stuff's on YouTube. What's left of them? I think they erased a lot of those videotapes.
Yeah, that's a tragedy. It took away her greatest gift.
Wolfman Jack. When I was a kid, holy crap. I couldn't tell you where I ever heard Wolfman Jack, but I'd see him on we loved Wolfman Jack when I was a kid,
That clap for the Wolfman, the Guess Who, 74.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do, Kay Keenan. We're trying to celebrate, hopefully get the word out and turn some people on to look at these. Of course, now we're going to look at the other 3 records on here. And
we gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Star, when all else fails, a Beatle channel does it for me. Well, I can't sit through the Beatle channel. It drives me crazy.
I like it at times.
Drives me crazy.
I'm not as big into the Beatles as you, though, Grant.
Oh, I love the Beatles. That's why I don't talk about them. It's already been like
done.
beating a dead horse. What can you more say about it? Of course, you've got that.
He's still out there too, Cousin Brucey.
Is he still alive?
He's still DJing. He's on Sirius. He's on maybe 6. He's on 6.
Maybe
on Friday or Saturday nights. I believe he's on there.
All right, Star.
I know I heard him last year.
Series. So stay tuned for more.
Sure.
Might as well.
We'll definitely hit the other 3 albums in this series. Just these a little more than I did these ones.
It was great in the day.
Spend
a Saturday drinking beers, recording LPs on cassette, or if you had the money, reel to reel. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb. I must say that I've got an old Honda Civic that's got a cassette deck in it.
Nice.
And I've got an Akai 3-head cassette deck, and I still make tapes. It's fun. I like it.
I still make mix CDs. I'll make mix. I make mix CDs. A lot of lot of the mix CDs I make are shows that I'm doing, or just stuff that I picked up recently, or just some song that popped in my head.
Yeah.
It's like God's way of saying, you gotta listen to this more, So.
Well, do we have anything more to touch on? Have we done it, John?
I think we've done it. I mean,
think we've done it.
Very free-form conversation here. Thank you.
That's
for
what it's about.
having me on, Grant.
Well, we'll do it again.
We will.
We'll get Peter on here too and talk some more Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
If anybody else wants to come on, this is open format. The more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, we give Living in the USA. I gave -7. You gave it an 8.
Yes.
You gave Mad Love what?
A 9.
A 9. What did I give it an 8?
You gave it a 9 too.
I gave it a 9 too.
Yeah.
Thank God you're on here and you keep me in line. Because I'll just start.
I'm good with numbers. It's just the way. So
there you go. Yeah, how much can you talk about the Beatles? I love them, but how much can you talk about? It's all been talked about. Yeah, when Get Back came out in the documentary, you got 6 hours of more Beatles stuff, plenty to talk about. But I won't do a Beatles show because I have nothing to add to it.
Yeah,
most of the new cars don't have AM radio.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they don't have CD players in them either. It gets at my craw.
Grant, check out Beach Boys Talk. They will be back on Tuesday night soon. Oh, okay. I'll write that down. Well, we're going to do Beach Boys Talk tomorrow. That's for damn sure.
What album are you doing again? Wild Honey?
We're doing Wild Honey tomorrow.
Okay.
With Ryan and Davy Gallagher.
Nice.
DJ Tris, I make mix CDs. There you go.
Yeah, mix CDs rock. Love
Thanks,
them.
ADH, for the kind words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Star.
Thank you.
It costs Rich $40. Well, we're all about spending money here on this channel. Don't tell me.
That's the thing, because we talked Linda Ronstadt, that we're bouncing all over the place. I love it.
Pete Jones, wonderful show, and it prompts anyone to dig deeper or discover her for the first time. It is very good.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, Peter. If you need a Beatles fix, check out Rachel's Ghost in the Morning. Well, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when she talks Beatles, but I don't need a Beatles fix. I've got plenty of Beatles. But I love Rachel. She's one of my favorites. Channel spent 3 hours talking about Ringo farting. Yeah. I know, Tim. Crap. I mean, some of it I like to listen to. There are some good Beatles shows out there.
Yeah.
I just don't have anything more to add to it. Daddy Bog, I was in the service when Wild Honey came out. Holy mackerel, Daddy Bog. You're 1,000 years old. And I mean that with peace and love. Peace and love.
When was Wild Honey? 68?
67.
Okay, I'm taking a guess.
I think it came out December 67.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Ernesto.
Thank you, Ernesto.
Hell yes, DJ Trish. I'm glad you came on. There's going to be more great content.
Thank you, Trish.
Tomorrow night when we do Wild Honey with Ryan and Davy, we're going live. Why not? It's just more fun. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to go live at 7 o'clock. So check out the link and come and hang out with us. Yep, Mr. Mayo does the Beatles, and Daddy Bog, that's all I need. Let Mr. Mayo handle that. Let Rachel handle it. I'm good. Thanks, Trish. You're 75, but you're a young 75, Daddy Bog.
That's funny.
Thanks, Daddy Bog. All right, Tim. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Holy mackerel.
I'm sorry. And to the one gentleman who commented, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
You lost me for a second.
Yeah, there you're back.
This is what happens with StreamYard. If you're not directly plugged in, you might come out I'm sorry. But anyway, to the man who was on, I'm sorry that you lost your terrestrial radio station. That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, we still got Rock 107, but their song list is gotten very
It's,
reduced.
yeah, it's all the same wherever you go. It's all homogenized. Everybody's
no one plays
playing
the same
same
three
stuff.
songs by Rush than the Home of Rock and Roll. When they used to
Daddy
play
Bug's
20.
associated with 6 people with the Beach Boys.
Sweet.
Is that kind of like the Kevin Bacon thing? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, DJ Trish, Pet Sounds is
How can you
a
not?
masterpiece. How could you not like that? But I love all that Smile stuff. I've got that Smile box set. Of course, I've got a lot of Beach Boys bootlegs. I've shared those before. A lot of the Sia Tune stuff. I think probably a lot of that stuff's come out, but man, they sound great. All right, Peter Jones, we will talk soon. All right, let's wrap this up.
Thanks,
John
Peter.
the Music
Feel
Nut,
better,
I
sir.
want to thanks for everybody coming on. I know I said that already. John the Music Nut, we will be doing more programming.
Absolutely.
This was fun. And again, thanks everybody. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. Do all that crap. I'm trying to hit 1 million subscribers. So, spread the word. So anyway, all right, John, we'll see you. Thanks everybody, and good night.
Good night.